More than 3 decades ago, a seemingly harmless idea quietly sowed the seeds for an agricultural disaster. A few European wild boars were brought to Brazil to serve private hunting estates, a symbol of the lavish power of the landed elite. No one could have imagined that these few animals, silently slipping through fences and vanishing into the wild, would usher in a turbulent chapter of history. But nature, with its own mysterious plans, was ready to write a different story. The escaped wild boars quickly adapted, thriving in Brazil's vast forests and sprawling fields. Before long, they crossbred with domestic pigs, giving rise to a new hybrid species, Java Porco, or super pigs, as locals called them, with a mix of dread and helplessness. This hybrid grew at a ferocious pace, reproduced relentlessly, and combined terrifying physical strength with sharp intelligence. Moving in herds, they tore through fences, ravaged crops, and left behind trails of devastation. What began as a controlled hunting experiment swiftly turned into a biological nightmare, a deep wound etched into Brazil's rural heartland. From just a few initial boars, their population exploded into the millions, spreading like a plague across 22 states. Each hoofprint in the mud was a chilling warning to farmers. In the misty dawn, Brazil's once peaceful countryside had transformed, and few realized that a fierce war had quietly begun. As the first light of day fell upon the fields, the sight struck farmers' hearts with dread. Acres of soybeans, corn, and sugarcane, the labor of months, were destroyed overnight. Sturdy fences lay flattened as if swept by a storm. Irrigation pipes were gnawed to pieces, water spilling uselessly onto the ground like tears of futility. The super pigs had arrived, bringing chaos and leaving trails of destruction in their wake. For farmers, this was not merely a pest problem. It was a full-scale invasion, an unstoppable living flood. Herds of hundreds moved silently in the dark, devouring crops, trampling seedlings, and churning fields as if turning the earth upside down. Months of labor vanished in hours. The damage was not just material, it was a spiritual wound. Many farmers collapsed in despair, watching generations of effort destroyed before their eyes. Repairing fences and replanting cost thousands of dollars each month, yet the super pigs returned, undeterred by traps or barriers. They learned quickly, adapted skillfully, and outsmarted every tactic. One farmer, voice thick with bitterness, said, "It's like fighting a ghost. You never see them coming, but they always leave their mark, scars that can't be erased." The once lush, peaceful countryside became a battlefield, where nature turned against those who nurtured it. After years of futile fighting with guns, poisons, and electric fences, farmers lost not only their crops, but also their faith. Modern technology had promised protection, yet every method proved powerless against the cunning of the super pigs. In desperation and exhaustion, they turned to an ancient, almost forgotten idea: the ditch. At first, the notion was mocked. How could a simple trench stop a seemingly invincible creature? But the laughter soon fell silent as results spoke louder than words. With massive excavators and modern laser surveying tools, farmers carved deep scars into the earth, ditches 2 meters deep and 3 meters wide, encircling fields like impregnable moats. The plan was simple yet audacious. If they couldn't defeat the pigs, they would outsmart them. Super pigs could run, dig, and attack, but they couldn't climb steep-sided ditches. The first ditches stood silently under the sun, stretching like scars of resilience, carved by human hands soaked in sweat and determination. As night fell, the super pigs came again, but this time they faltered. Mother Earth, once a battlefield, became an unexpected ally to the farmers. The war was no longer fought with bullets, it was won with shovels, each scoop of dirt a declaration of defiance against the invaders. In the heart of Mato Grosso do Sul, 14 farmers turned despair into action. They formed a cooperative, pooling costs, machinery, and strength to protect their most precious asset, their ancestral land. They named the project Soyaria, a name both humorous and defiant, blending soybean and barrier. It was a bold declaration: this land no longer belongs to the pigs. Together, they planned a ditch over 40 kilometers long, wide enough to stop even the mightiest boars. Excavators roared for days, their steel arms slicing through the earth like blades of fate, while men with shovels followed, carefully shaping each edge. It was a scene that shook the countryside. Farmers, through sweat and will, reclaiming their destiny, one scoop of earth at a time. When harvest season arrived, the results stunned everyone. A tax dropped from 28 per month to just 3. Costs for fence and infrastructure repairs fell by 92%. Crops flourished, standing prouder than ever. Yields rose by 18%, and granaries filled so quickly that trucks lined up through the night to weigh their loads. The evidence was undeniable. Against a cunning and destructive enemy, the humblest tool, the shovel, became an invincible weapon. From that season, the story of Soyaria spread like an unquenchable fire across Brazil. Farmers didn't just dig ditches in the earth, they dug new hope for the future. Victory, though glorious, came at a cost. In the wake of Soyaria's triumph, new problems began to surface. Some tractors and harvesters accidentally slipped into the ditches during foggy mornings or dark nights when signs were obscured. The ditches that once stopped the pigs now posed a hazard to those who built them. But for the farmers, the choice was clear. Between total destruction and scars on the land, they chose the scars. For the first time in years, the fields had a chance to breathe, a chance to live. Today, when you ask Brazilian farmers what they trust most to protect their crops, guns, poisons, or electric fences, the answer surprises all: the shovel. Through sweat, loss, and perseverance, they learn that sometimes the simplest tools hold the deepest wisdom. In the war against the super pigs, a cunning and destructive enemy, the solution lay not in weapons or chemicals, but in the very soil beneath their boots. Across Brazil's countryside, long earthen ditches stretch toward the horizon like silent sentinels. Under the sunset, they resemble brown ribbons, dividing chaos from peace. Hands that once trembled with fear now grip shovels with fierce conviction. Farmers walk their fields again, hearing only the whisper of wind through soybean leaves instead of the growls of invaders in the dark. Shovels replace guns, ditches replace fences, and through those earthen walls, hope is rebuilt. 1 grain, 1 meter of soil at a time. Farmers who once fought to survive have become symbols of ingenuity and resilience. For progress is not always about new inventions, but sometimes about returning to the oldest truths of the land. That the earth, when respected, will shelter those who shelter it. Thank you for staying with us until the very end on Lee Farm. If this story inspired you, please hit like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next heartfelt farming journey. See you on the land, where every seed tells a story.